This is the type of stuff people love to hear my dumb ass say, but I'm convinced that the world's like axis is like changing because like our summers have shifted
100%,
and it's not the same like California weather it was when I was growing up. It's like it's a way colder state now. It feels more like Northern California.
It's like October's the hottest month all of a sudden.
which is so wild.
Like March or February is the coldest month. It's so weird.
It's really weird. But okay, we got my girl Madisyn Shipman today. She's extremely talented actress, singer, social media star. She's the best. You're going to love her. What's up, girl?
Hello.
How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
Thank you so much for coming.
Of
You are the
course, of
sweetest.
course. Thank you for having me.
No, like
You know I love you, so like
we
whenever
had so much
something
fun.
was said.
We had so much fun when we met.
Yeah.
I was like, I definitely have to have Madisyn on the podcast because, you know, that's my girl. But I want to start talking to you today about, I feel like this is something we have to talk about because naturally we met at Taylor Swift.
100%. So it's got to be brought up.
I was like, it has to be brought up. I'm like, everybody's talking about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Okay, so what are your thoughts? Do you think that she's ruining the NFL or whatever?
I mean, no one's asking like if he's ruining her from like taking away from her world tours. No one's asking that. I think she brings a lot to the table, and I think he brings a lot to the table too. And I mean, if it works out, then it works out.
Yeah.
She's had such bad luck with relationships. She deserves a good one.
I know, but I'm worried that he's not the one.
But what if he is? I'm always glass half full, so maybe that's just me, and that's why I get into these situations. But I mean, what if he is? He could be a really good guy.
So our thing,
I don't know.
yeah. So I don't know him like on a text basis, but I've known him a little bit over the years, and let's just say that Taylor Swift isn't his usual type. So
well, okay.
So
I did a little like
sus.
stalking.
It's a little sus.
I mean, he's never dated a girl like her before. Never.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe it was just that wasn't working out. I don't know. I don't know him, so I can't really say anything.
Yeah, he was just like, I've had it.
Well, who knows? But like, in my opinion, I'm like, okay, I've definitely dated people that were not my type, so I can't really
Same.
like.
I know. I feel you. Like, so I. This is what I think, though, right? I think that beyond looks, a type is usually more like the vibe, right? And so I just feel like if Travis Kelce was gonna go from like, dating only black women to dating a white girl, I feel like Taylor Swift isn't that girl, but I don't know.
She's like, okay, I love Taylor, but she's like the epitome of a white girl. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
I mean, you can't. Taylor's white. Like, it's just her whole persona, and like, yes, not saying anything like bad at all, but like that's just who she is.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm like, dude, I felt like we had to talk about this because it's so crazy because we met before Taylor fell in love at Taylor's
exactly.
concert.
Yeah.
Well, according to like
our
tabloids, she was already dating him. But
But I feel like our world has completely changed, you guys, since we met because
oh my God, it's
now
crazy.
Taylor Swift is not single. She's in a relationship. She might have not even performed that good that night if she wasn't single,
Exactly. We'll never know. We'll never know. I mean, it was a great night. I will say that. I'm so grateful I met you.
Yes.
Like, truly. And you too, Dom. Like,
Dude, I had no idea what I was getting into. I was like the only guy there. I thought I was going to a concert, and it was just
I think that
30 girls and me.
Well, so it's funny because
and maybe one gay guy.
well, yeah, maybe like one or two.
No, I don't even think there was one gay guy. I think he was like the owner of the brand.
He was the only guy there, but I mean, I called my mom after and I was like, like Tom is a really good guy for like going and doing that with Chanel. Like, I mean, he knew the songs, like he was getting on fun.
Yeah, I didn't know it was.
I'm glad someone appreciates me for what my sacrifice.
You bring so much to the table, Dom.
No, I really did not know. Like, I'd be the only. Like, I thought like, oh, there'll be a couple other girls like bringing their boyfriends. Like, I thought like it's Taylor Swift. There's love songs. You know what I mean? And then I got there and I was like, oh, this is like a full on girls' night. And the funniest is like, so the brand was doing like another one for Beyonce or something.
Oh, they did?
Did you go?
No, I didn't go.
Okay, so like they like.
Did you go?
I think they like wanted me to go for that one too, and I obviously really wanted to go see Beyonce. Beyonce's a Virgo, like myself. I love my fellow Virgos. But the funniest thing was they specifically said, they're like, hey, so we'd love to invite you again, but this time can you bring a girlfriend? And I was like, the owner for sure put that comment.
Oh, 100%.
Like, hey, listen, I'm trying to be the only guy in the group hanging out with all these hot chicks. Like,
hot younger chicks and like who I would never be able to have a convecation with, but here I am.
So I thought that was kind of funny that they like literally specifically were like, nah, don't bring your dude this time, you know?
You got on just fine though. Like you dressed up, you like had fun, you were dancing.
You know, the bus was a little awkward. But
that
once
bus
we got
was long as ever.
Yeah, right. I know also that we like went way across town. But anyway, I think the actual concert itself was great. It reminded me of when we saw The Weeknd, which I actually kind of liked better.
Taylor Swift reminded you of The Weeknd. I think it's just because
it was the same stadium and it was the same vibe.
They're not like comparable at all, but okay.
Dude, the Weeknd show was sick though.
Wait, really quick. This plant, we should have fixed it.
Our house is like Jumanji.
No, but like, do you see how the plant looks like it's coming out of his head from where
it kind
we're
of does,
sitting?
and it looks like you're like scavenging through the jungle.
Plants growing everywhere.
But I mean, hey, it looks lively in here.
Listen,
and at least you can keep it alive.
So I'm a plant mom.
Okay.
I'm obsessed with my plants. He knows. That's why this one's gotten a little out of hand. I take care of it. I give it the proper water, sunlight. I give it all of the love it needs, and it's thriving, you know? So,
okay, I need you to come over and help me because I have to get fake flowers because it never works out.
You can't. Don't do it.
Why?
Because supposedly, I don't know if you believe in feng shui at all, but Japanese feng shui says that like fake flowers bring like a bad energy into your home.
I think I'm balancing it out with my crystals. I've got so many crystals and sound bowls throughout my house. I think I'm fine on energy. I mean, I'm thriving, so something's working. I don't know.
Maybe it is the crystals.
Maybe. I mean, I start my mornings with them.
And my life low-key kind of improved after all my crystals.
It did. And like I wear my jewelry every day that has crystals on it.
You do?
Like, yeah. I'm like really big into that though. I mean, maybe it's just me being like woo-woo, but I think it works. So therefore I'm going to say it works.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the type of person that's like, I've had so much bad luck in life that I'm like, I'm willing to try anything at this point. And so I've got a bunch of crystals. And like, it's funny when we first started dating, he's like, babe, like, what are all these, like, this is clutter. And I'm like, no. This is energy.
This gives me my power.
No, and the funniest thing Dom said, he was like, what's this one? And I was like, oh, that's the, how do you say it? Citrine? Is it citrine or
I think it's citrine.
Citrine.
Yeah. Sometimes
like
citrine, sometimes citrine, whatever.
It's like tomato.
Yeah, exactly.
Same difference.
So I showed him that one. I said, that one's for like prosperity and wealth. Like it helps bring like, you know, money into your life. And Dom goes, well, maybe I should swallow it then. And he's so funny. He actually like not stole it from me, but he was like, I feel like he like was like, you know what? I'm gonna see if she's right. And he put it in his closet.
Oh my God. Did it work?
You know, it's you know, it's going.
He did get some good deals.
Yeah.
Sold a house after that.
So then it works. There you go.
So, you know, we'll just keep our crystals around.
It's not working the same way it's working for you, Madisyn. I'll tell you that.
I'm telling you, like,
you're killing it. I think these crystals are really bringing everything to fruition for you.
It's all about cutting out the bad. That's like what I'm really learning. And yes, I know I'm young, but I'm like trying to learn these things.
You're an old soul, though. I can
100%.
tell. You seem a lot wiser beyond your years, for sure.
And I attribute a lot of that to my mom and my grandmother. Like I am so close with them, and I'll call them. I literally called them on the way here, and we were like talking about sex and everything, and like the fact that I can have these conversations with my grandmother is like the best thing ever.
That's so
like,
cute.
Oh my God, it's so fun. She gives me all of my dating tips.
Really?
She's like, no, Madisyn, you need to do this. Nope, you're not doing it right. Do this. So
that's so cute. So are you in a relationship or single right now?
Girl, I've been in a situationship for the past like 2 years, and now it's finally like over, I guess. I don't even know. Like, I'm just living my life.
That's good.
I am married to my music. I'm married to my crystals and my dog. That's about it. But something better hurry up and come because I want a family. Like, I want to get married.
No, you know what? You're so young. Like, seriously, I think that I spent so much time, like, especially because I was an only child. I didn't have siblings. I grew up very lonely. So I feel like I always was like, I need like love. I need a relationship. And I feel like relationships were like some of my biggest setbacks with my career. I had a couple relationships that like one was a terrible situation for me to get over, and another person was like a controlling psycho. And so they were just setbacks for my career. And even though they were great learning experiences, I feel like you're young, you have so much going for you, you're super talented, and the best advice I can give you as like a big sis is like, literally don't think about love. Just focus on yourself and like it's so funny. I had told Dom the moment I had got to that point in my life where I was like, I'm happy being single.
I'm good.
I'm like, I like being single. I was in Tulum with a girlfriend and she had like a crazy boyfriend on the phone, like going off on her. And I was like sitting there waiting to go to dinner. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of like being single. I like that I'm not dealing with these type of problems, you know?
Well, it's so crazy, especially in this day and age. I feel like there's so many bad guys out there because it's just is acceptable.
Yeah.
Which is just crazy to me. Like I've had my fair share of bad relationships, whether it's controlling, whether it's trying to be a dictatorship, whatever it may be. I'm finally to a point where I'm just like, look, the right guy will come along. I'm just letting it happen.
Well, you tend to find things when you stop looking for them, you know? And I feel like that's applies to more than just relationships. Sometimes it's career, sometimes it's this. You know, speaking of career, one thing that I didn't know about you was you actually started as an actress.
I did.
When you were younger.
I've been acting since I was 7.
Now,
so like pretty much my whole life.
So,
That's
but you're
great.
from North Carolina. So I'm sure there wasn't a ton of work there. So how was that? What's your story and how did you kind of get into it?
You have an agency in North Carolina.
But I don't think
But it was different back then.
Yeah.
Like, back then, it was unheard of. I grew up in a teeny town, one stoplight in the whole town.
No way.
Middle of nowhere. Closest mall was like 45 minutes away.
Oh my gosh.
And I knew from a young age that I wanted to be on TV. That was my goal. That's what I was going to do. And I mean, even as young as like preschool, and I bit a kid because he told me I was not going to be an actress. And I'm like,
I didn't do that.
I'll show you. So I like told my parents, they're like, no, like we live in the middle of nowhere. We don't do that. Like you go to school, you get a good job and you stay in town. Like that's all you do. And after like 3 or 4 years of convincing, finally they were like, okay, fine, you can try it. And then the first audition I went on, I booked it.
No way.
And it was just like, oh, okay, maybe she was right.
Yeah.
So started doing that, got signed with an agency in Charlotte. They sent me to an acting convention in Florida called AMTC, which had like a bunch of managers from all over the world, whether it be in a different country or like New York or LA. And I got offers from both sides, but chose New York just because of how close it was to back home. That way we could still do the commute, or my grandparents could come out because my grandparents refused to fly.
Yeah.
So we moved out to New York. I booked a Broadway show the first summer that we went out there. So we had to move. And then we lived out there for like 6.5 years and then had 3 days to move out to California whenever I booked Game Shakers. And I've been out here since.
Yeah,
That's
so for
crazy.
anyone that doesn't know, you were on a Nickelodeon show called Game Shakers, who was produced by Dan Schneider, who, for anyone that doesn't know him, he produced basically every major Nickelodeon show.
All of the best shows on Nickelodeon, like by far.
Yeah, Drake and Josh,
iCarly,
all
Victorious,
that.
Kenan and Kel, all that. All the best shows.
Nice.
I love Kenan and Kel personally, and all that. And the Amanda Show.
I actually did voiceovers on a Nickelodeon cartoon, and Kel was on the cartoon.
Really?
With me. Yeah, he did one of the voices, and I did a voice. It's so funny because it was a small, like a small
show
period.
was this?
It's called Wild Grinders. It was actually a show Rob Dyrdek produced for Nickelodeon.
Oh my gosh.
And so I think it got a little overshadowed at the time because we were doing Fantasy Factory on MTV, and that was like a really big deal. This is actually before Ridiculousness. And it's really funny. There's a whole episode of Fantasy Factory about this. So when Rob started developing the cartoon, I was like, I know I'm good at voices. Like, I need to do a voice.
Yeah.
And so I kept begging him. I was like, let me do a voice. Let me be a character. You know, I was like, there needs to be little girl characters on a little boy skater show. Like,
100%.
you know what I mean?
Like, it has to happen.
Exactly. And so he's so funny. He created this like whole like test for me, and I had to skateboard down like the steepest hill ever and pass like all these points. And if I made it to the end, I could do the voice of the character.
Like in real life, you had to skateboard?
Yes, down the steepest hill. They put me in like a freaking like a motocross
Can we
suit.
find that clip?
Oh my God.
They put me in like a motocross suit with the helmet.
I've got to see this video after we finish up.
Wait, you should try to find it. But yeah, no. And so I don't think they thought that I was gonna make it down the hill, and I made it all the way to the end, and he was like, all right, you got the voice. And so I voiced the character. Her name was Flips.
Flips,
a
that's
little
cute.
Skater. And oh my gosh, there's so many clips.
Sorry, just do Chanel West Coast like skateboarding.
Put like Chanel West Coast skating.
Fantasy Factory. Yeah, keep Fantasy Factory though, I think.
Fantasy Factory skating downhill. Dude, I looked like literally 5 on that show.
I've never seen this show. Like, And bad on me for not like doing my homework.
No, you're
too.
so young. You were like this is like even like before your time, which makes me feel so old.
You're really not that old though.
I look pretty young for my age, but
you look great.
No, it's not the
yeah,
second
maybe
one.
it's not on there.
It's so hard finding things on the internet. I feel like things get washed away.
Yeah,
people say that things live on the internet forever. Then where's all of this stuff that we're trying to find?
I can't find it right now, but basically, yeah, that's how it led to me doing the voice on the show. And then Kel was one of the characters. And I remember meeting
Kel's
him.
wonderful.
Dude, I love him. He's like
He's
so
such
nice.
a good guy. And like centered in such a good family situation.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he really has thrived in this environment and in this world, because I mean, the entertainment industry is not what it's cracked up to be. Like, yes, there are fun moments and I'm very, very grateful, but there's a lot of negativity that comes along with this line of business. And he really has stayed centered in all of this. And now he's like going off and preaching and like he's got his family and like Asia is wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful. I love her. So the fact that he's really thriving in things outside of just his work and career, I think that's why he really has thrived in life, and it shows.
Exactly, because I mean, that's what life is truly about, which obviously being here in LA and wrapped up in our dreams, we forget sometimes that that's really what life is about is, you know, just spreading joy and doing positive things and making the world a better place.
100%. And especially like out here, it's so hard to find people that are centered in that as well. Cause like so many people are so caught up in like, oh, I'm chasing my dreams. So this is how I'm supposed to act. This is how I'm supposed to behave. And once you've been out here and in this environment for so long, you kind of realize that there's so much more to life. Like, yes, you can be on a show, but like it could end tomorrow. It's not the end of the world. Like you move on to bigger and better. You keep moving, and that's just part of the process. But so many people are centered in, oh, I have to do this. I have to do it this way. I have to be this kind of person in order to make it somewhere. And that's just not the case.
Yeah.
Well, you know, back to like you being on Game Shakers and working with Nickelodeon, you know, they are notorious for kind of being maybe slightly controlling, having these contracts that kind of lock you in, you know, but I'm also sure there was amazing positives as well. But what was that like working on a show, and then also when you found out that it was ending, you know, how does that?
I was left in the dark. Like, I'm going to be completely honest with you. So I signed a 5 or 6 year contract. I was 12 years old. Like, had never signed a big deal contract ever in my life. I will say children's networks pay their child actors crappy. Like we do not get residuals. We do not get anything. Whereas if you're on like a primetime network, then you are getting residuals on certain things that you do. So we didn't get residuals on any of that. And then the day that the show, like we found out that it was ending, we were filming. All the other kids knew except for me. And like something was said. I heard someone talking about the show ending. And I even went up to Dan and I'm like, because I love Dan to death. Like we are super, super close. I went up to him and I'm like, is it true? Like, is the show ending? Like, all the kids are saying that it's over. Like, this is the last time we're going to see each other. Is that the case? He goes, oh, no. Like, no, just go finish your scene. Like, everything's fine. So I go and finish my scene. And as soon as I was done for the day, that's whenever he told me, like, no, like the show's over.
So he like didn't want to freak you out.
He didn't tell me like when I wanted to know, because I would have been a basket case.
Yeah.
Just because that is your life. Like, we were family for 4 years. I mean, we filmed 6 days a week, 10.5 hours a day. Like, you become family as much as you don't want to or whatever. You are family. Like, that's just what it is. You have one day off. Every other day you're with these people. So you become really close to them. And whenever you find out that everything that you've known for the past 3 or 4 years is done, it is a little alarming.
No, I mean, it's even for, you know, for me, a much different situation, but leaving Ridiculousness, I was on that show for so long. And
yeah, because how long did you do that for?
For like 15 years.
Oh
I know, or like almost 15 years. I'm trying to think about the math, but yeah, like 13 to 15 years, something like that. It's a blur, but yeah, it's crazy because it's like you're so used to these people and you've just been working with them for so long, and like you're just, you know, the whole like it's like, okay, I show up every day this time and and this is our filming schedule, and you just have your whole like routine down, and then, you know, now for me to go from that into doing like a docu-series about my life, and we're actually filming 10 times more, and it's super invasive and it's so different, but it's hard to go from something that you're so used to like that all of a sudden being over for you.
Oh, 100%.
And for me, it's a little different because Ridiculousness is actually still going.
Oh, I didn't even know it was still going.
It is still going. And so for me, that was the hardest part, was because I had to make a decision to go off and do something. But it's weird that it is still there without me. And so it's like, it's hard. It's really hard when you're just
and I'm sure there's days where you're like, oh my God, what if? What if?
Yeah.
And like, that's obviously going to creep into your head. Like, I still think about like, what would I be doing if like it went on for another 2 years? Like, would I be in the same place that I am today? You never really know, but I think that everything happens for a reason.
Yep.
Every door closes for another one to open. And I am so, so grateful that door closed. That way I could be going on to like what I'm doing now. And I'm sure you feel the same way. Like,
exactly.
It really is a blessing.
No, I was just telling Dom, I was like, it's funny because a lot of people have really put me in this ridiculousness box. You know what I'm saying? And I feel that if the show ended for all of us, it would have been like, it just ends and it's like, she's the girl from Ridiculousness. Now I get to end my story, and I don't even want to think about it end at this point. Now my story's beginning with my own new show.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And so I'm like, if I would have stayed on Ridiculousness till that show came to its end, that would have been like almost the end in a weird way.
You would have been typecasted as only that. That's all she's good for. That's all she's known for. Like, same goes for me, like Nickelodeon, like, if you stay in it long enough, then that's all you're known for. And like, you won't get casted in other things because you're typecasted as, oh no, she's just a Nickelodeon girl.
Yeah. Well, especially also it's hard to like, you look young and tiny and cute.
I'm 4'10", so like
people want to keep casting you as like the young girl, and so I get that too. Like that's another thing for me that's also been a weird thing with acting and stuff, is that I am a little older, but I look so much younger. So it's like,
and you're itty bitty too. So it's like,
I'm not going to play the role of the mother who like has a 16-year-old.
Oh no, you don't think so? You don't think that'll read well?
Even though I could in reality be old enough to have a kid that age, like I would look their age. I go drive by my old high school and I'm like, I look the same age as these kids,
I've gone to like my brother's wrestling matches and people will come up to me and be like, oh, are you in your sophomore year? I'm like, no. No, not quite, but thanks.
Yeah, no, it's like, it's hard.
It means we'll look hot at 60, so.
Oh, for sure.
I'm happy.
I'm on that J-Lo regimen,
Okay,
well,
but better.
I literally found out what skincare J-Lo uses.
What is she using?
La Mer.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Because it's the most expensive stuff.
Well, as soon as I found out that that's what J-Lo used, I've been using it. Like literally the day I found out that's what she uses from a makeup
artist.
artist.
Smother my face.
I was like, say less. I know how I'm going to stay looking good. And it actually really does work. It makes you like no wrinkles in this area. It's great. But anyways, yeah, I think that like, people get typecasted and that's hard, especially coming from Nickelodeon, but I think that with social media, we have a lot of power to control how people see us, and
we get to change the narrative, which is so wonderful, so wonderful. And like, you're doing your social media thing, I'm doing mine. Like, it really is such a blessing that we have this now, because 20 years ago, that never would have been able to happen. You would have been stuck in this box, but now you can have a life outside of it. Yeah, which is so powerful, because you can show what you're really into and what you're really like.
Yeah, and I think it even goes like for Dom too. He's a model and he's always doing like these like super hot shoots and like whatever. But there's so much more. Even like with how when we first met, I'm like, yeah, he's hot, but like, I want to know more
what's
about
underneath.
But like, I think that for him, it's like, he's super talented, super smart, but people kind of like see you and they're like, oh, he's just like the hot, like empty head guy. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what they think.
That's so crazy.
And it's like, he's so much more than that. And it's just how the world is in general. Like it, like the phrase judge a book by its cover is like sadly what everybody does,
And as much as we try to like change that, it still happens. Like I'm guilty of it too. And I'm trying to get better.
Me too.
Trying.
Me too.
Some things I'm better than others, but like, it is hard because like you do see something and you're like, oh, like their life is perfect because of like what's posted on social media. Yeah. And like I can only imagine how it is for the modeling agencies. Like it's crazy because you present yourself as like a certain person and then I mean, like, I present myself as like, oh, I'm fun. Like, I go out. I stay at home. Like, I do not do anything.
Girl, it's the same.
I go to bed at 8 o'clock. Like,
no, it's
I'm a
literally
big
the same.
baby. Like, I am a grandma, and I'm not mad at it.
It's so the same for me. So I like, because I do hip hop music, I've had a lot of club gigs and a lot of club hosting gigs from being on reality TV. And so this is work. I'm getting paid to go in clubs. And I'm the type of person that's like, well, if I'm at home or if I'm like busy, like working out or working, like I'm not posting that, you know? But if I'm at the club and I'm like kind of hanging out, turning up or performing, I'm going to post that. So what started to become a thing for me was like, I'm doing so many club gigs and I'm posting in the club so much that people think I just live in a club, but it's like, I'm literally getting paid to be there. This is my work. And when I'm not there working, doing that, I'm at home sober, like working on myself. And so it's just funny because it's like people literally think I'm like this like extra party animal. I don't think making a song called Alcoholic helps. But I'm like, babe, you know me. I'm like, that's why I throw parties at my house, because I'm like, I actually just want to stay here and not leave.
I can only imagine. And like my only thing with like having a party at the house would be like, okay, whenever like you're done, you can't just be like, okay, bye. Like you've got to like shoo these people out the door. So how do you do that? Like
I say every party starts at like 6.
Yeah.
When really we know it will start at 9. You know what I mean? And we're like, the party's over at 10. The party's not over at 10. It always goes till like 12:01. So you have to literally tell people 2 hours earlier for each, when it starts and when it ends, because that's the only, especially in LA, to get people there on time.
Dude, I'll treat our house like the club. I'll turn off the music, cut the lights on. It's like time to go.
Close for the night. Get out.
And then everyone's like, well, what's the move? Where are we going? And I'm like, I don't know. The car's right there.
Go get your car.
He's like, I don't know where you're going, but it's not staying here. Bye-bye.
I love that.
Yeah.
I need to adopt more of that energy. Like, I'm not good about like, okay, it's done. Like, I've got to be able to stand up for myself a little bit more. And that's what my big goal is for this year.
That's
like,
also so funny. That also goes back to my club gigs. So I'm a very friendly person. And I'm the type of person that's like, I was paid to be here. Even though they told me I can leave in an hour, I'm like, I was paid to literally
You feel guilty.
hang out. And I feel guilty. I'm like, I should stay and take a few more pics with fans or whatever. Next thing you know, I'm in the club and they're turning on the lights. And I'm like, am I still here? Like,
oh.
And that's where I get this. And it's like the fans are taking a picture. Like, she's still in the club with the lights on. And then it's like, she parties all the time. It's like, no, I like felt bad and wanted to get more pics with my fans. You know what I mean?
Like, if only you knew the real story behind it.
Yeah. But no, I wanted to ask you about this. So you're doing music now, and do you feel that, especially coming from Nickelodeon, do you think that it's harder to be taken seriously as a musician because people just see you as like the kid star from Nickelodeon?
100%. I mean, it's been so hard to get out of that. Like, I took 2 years off from doing anything, like was doing my own thing, went to regular high school because I was like, oh, maybe this will feel fulfilling. Was severely bullied, graduated 2 years early because I was like, I don't want to do this. Where'd you go to high school? It was a random high school in Orange County because my parents live in Orange County. And it was just not a good situation. But my mom always told me, like, you get yourself into a situation, you see it all the way through the end, and then you get yourself out. So I stayed for the year. It was an experience. That's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And then went back to online school, graduated early, started college, realized really quickly that was not for me.
Yeah.
And then I went through a breakup. The guy was doing music, and I had always used songwriting as my therapy. Like, that's just how I've always coped. I wrote a whole EP whenever I was 9, never released it.
Yeah.
And then I'd been doing it on and off, and then went through this breakup. It was not a good situation. He texted me in the middle of the night and was like, I can't give you 100% right now. And 2 days later, was on vacation with another girl.
Okay, but you're young. How old was this
like
guy?
16, 17. So like,
that's
whatever.
Something a 16 or 17-year-old guy
whatever.
would do.
I mean, not a real relationship, but still like hurtful.
Yeah.
So got back in the studio and I was like, okay, like I got to figure something out. So I wrote another song, was flying solo, and decided, you know what? I'm going to release it. And I'm going to release it and do a music video with his music video director. Because I was like, I mean, it was kind of like a fuck you, but like in a nice kind way. So I did that. And then through that whole process, I was like, wait, this is actually really fun. I actually enjoy this. Like, this is what I want to do. I think this is going to be something that makes me happy and like fulfills me. And at least is a form of therapy throughout this whole process, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
So that's whenever all of that stuff started, and then it kind of created a monster. And now I've been working on this album for the past like 2.5 years, and it's going to have like 21, 22 songs on it.
Nice. I love when an album has a lot of songs on it.
Well, I like having like genre, like switches. So I don't want to stick to one thing. So there's like country on there. There's pop. There's dancey, like club songs. There's a little bit of everything, just because, I mean,
that's how
I go in for a session and I'm like, yeah, like this is my mood. I want to write a sad song, or, oh no, like my life is going great.
Yeah.
Oh, I went to the club. Like, let me write a club song. So it's kind of, it really has been fun to go through my life in like a way of these songs. If that makes sense.
Oh my God, girl. I love talking to people who can relate, because you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I have an album that I haven't put out yet. It's been on hold because I got pregnant. I had a high risk pregnancy, so I couldn't be like,
dang.
Cardi B was out here like performing pregnant, and I thought I was gonna be like that. But then when I found out I was high risk, I had to basically like, after 5 or 6 months, kind of just be chill. I couldn't like be like dancing and performing and all that. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take a break and enjoy this time being pregnant, be very zen for my baby. And then I ended up getting this show deal for our show.
Okay.
And obviously now that I have a show, I'm like, well, I'm not gonna drop the album without putting it out with the show.
Exactly. Like, you got to do it right.
So that now has held it up even more. But the funny thing is all these songs that are on this next album I'm going to put out, I wrote these songs before we had even started dating. And I was gosh. It was very like lonely girl in LA. Like just, it's very like this, like the whole vibe of the album is kind of like, just like, LA is the place where you get a broken heart and broken dreams, and that is the essence of what I was writing about. It's like broken heart,
I need you to text
dreams.
Me this like ASAP
I'm
as soon as we finish.
Songs.
Please, and I'll share mine.
But like it's so crazy though, because like I listen to these songs now and I'm like, oh my gosh, my life just even since then has changed so much. It's like I ended up finding love with Dom, and then we had Bowie, and I feel so much more fulfilled now and so much happier. And even when I go to write music now I want to go back to like writing more like fun, like party songs, more happy, because I'm like, I'm in a happy mood, or more like love songs about us. But everything that's going to be on this album,
it's like
you're going to be like,
different.
oh, this was not her with Dom. This was before that, because it's like you can feel like the pain and like the sadness, you know. But it's like that's what I love about music is like it's such a great way to express yourself, and I love that you can go back and listen to these songs. You
and
did
just so much reflecting and be like, oh my God, like I remember whenever I wrote this, like, whoa, this is crazy. And it takes you like full circle, because you're like, oh my God, thank God I had this experience, because now I'm so grateful for what I have in my life now.
Yeah, I love that. Like, even like, I don't know why, still to this day I made the song Alcoholic. But
okay, I've never heard this song.
We'll play it later.
Please.
It's like a fun party song where it's just like talking about being drunk, and it's like obviously I made it when I was drinking in the studio and it was all fun, but like I never thought, I have songs where I spent hours like lyrically writing the sickest raps of my life, and like songs where I wrote about like this like deep love story, and it's like so like just emotional and powerful. And then it's like I make the song Alcoholic that's like as a joke, like drunk, and it's my top streamed song. It has like millions and millions of streams on every platform, and
that
I'm like,
just goes to show like you never know what's gonna hit and what's not.
For real.
The whole way the internet works is so wild. Like you think you do something and put so much energy into it, and you're like, okay, this is gonna pay off, like this is gonna be a good move, like this is gonna go viral, and then does nothing, and then you do like bare minimum effort, and that's what pops off, and you're like, really? Like this is what's gonna hit? Okay, like
that. And that's what we were talking about too, is like I feel like the less it's funny because I cared so much about my music before, but it's not that I don't care about my music anymore, but I have Bowie now and Dom, and I care so much about our family, and like other things are so much more important to me now, that it's like, that's not everything. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's not life.
Well, it's funny because just by listening to you, I can tell both of you have such a passion for music. And I'm curious, like, what's it like to be so passionate about music, about wanting to create music, wanting to do that, but your success and your living actually comes from something completely different? You know, how do you reconcile that?
That's a great thing to talk about.
I feel like for me, music's therapy. That's probably like the best way to put it. I do my music because I'm like, okay, this is helping me get through a tough time. Like whether it's like, okay, so I'll just like go through. There's a song on the album called Playboy, and it's literally about my Playboy experience. There's a song called Thor about a guy that I was dating. There's a song called You Win, talking about like in a relationship, whenever someone like throws in your face that like, oh, like you're just a consolation prize. Like I have to focus on me before anything happens with us. And it's throwing that like, there's so many different songs that have really like gotten me through difficult situations. Whereas like acting, yeah, it's fun. It pays the bills, like great. And that's how I was like funding my music before. And now I joined Playboy, and now I'm like fully self-funded, and like I'm fine to do whatever I want to do in that space, which is such a blessing. And knowing that I don't have to rely on that and it doesn't have to be done a certain way is so rewarding. And I'm sure you can relate too. Like you want to write about whatever you want to write about. You don't want to be dictated and, oh, you have to make a song today about.
I literally passed up a really great opportunity. It was to work with a record label who has made megastars. Like, I'm not even gonna say the people, because then you can easily know what the label is, and I don't like everybody to know all my tea. But
no, you got to keep some things close to the chest.
But I did pass it up because the funny thing is like they heard the music that I was already putting out online, and it was hip hop. And I also come from Rob Dyrdek shows where I have like this skater fan base, and it's like skateboarders aren't listening to Taylor Swift; they're listening to cool, like dope music,
like Blink 182, like those kind of things, and
like,
hip hop.
You know what I'm saying? And so when they started sending me songs, like, "Hey, do you want to do this song? Like, we think you'd be good on this." It was all very like extra pop. And
oh god.
And I look back now, and I'm like, I should have just did it. But like, but at the time, I was like, my fans don't want to hear this. Like this, you're gonna put me in such a different direction, and it just didn't feel authentic to me. And I was like, I don't like it. And that is what I do like about being independent. Is like you said with your album, I'm like, girl, same. I'm like, you know, babe, I got songs that are kind of rock, straight up rock, actually. And then I have songs where I'm like straight up rapping hip hop. Yeah. And then I've got like pop songs where it's like extra girly. It's like I'm all over the place.
Fun. And like, that's just who we are. Like, I mean, there's some days where like all I listen to is country music. And then all I listen to the next day is like full on like early 2000s Britney Spears. Yep. Like it really depends. And the fact that we're able to have that creative flexibility is so like needed.
I know. I love that. So I'll ask this though too, because you mentioned Playboy and them, you know, giving you a great platform and helping you make the money to fund your music. Do you also think that like the Nickelodeon thing, do you think that people will maybe look at that as something that doesn't, you know, make you a serious artist? Like if you're on a platform like Playboy and doing like the sexy stuff, do you think that people are maybe like, oh, she's not a real artist because she's doing this?
I don't really know. I mean, I'm still trying to navigate through it, but I know with Playboy in the past, at least, like there have been so many amazing people that have posed for Playboy, whether it's like Sally Fields, Cindy Crawford, so many big people have posed for Playboy, and it was never an issue. Like didn't hurt their career. If anything, it made their career.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, look, I like being sexy. I like feeling myself. I like feeling like, okay, like I am sexy. I can like show this. And before, like my management team was not happy about me posting like bathing suit photos or anything that showed even a little bit of cleavage on my Instagram. So now I'm able to do that in a safe space and like know that, okay, I'm not being shunned for this. Like people actually appreciate it. And if you got a problem with it, then I don't want to be having a conversation with you. Like,
well, what's that journey like of like, first you're a Nickelodeon star, then you take a break from acting and there's no like, I just know, just because I've been in modeling, I know it's not like a seamless transition to get into what you're doing now. What's that journey like, and kind of how did you get introduced to it? How did you kind of end up taking the opportunity? Like, how did that story unfold?
Okay, so funny story. I like baseball, basketball, like anything sports related. That is my jam. Like that is where I'm truly happiest. Like I love going and watching and like seeing the guys like get down and dirty. Like that is fun for me. And one of my girlfriends who was on Nickelodeon at the same time, her name's Kyla Drew. She started doing like an internship for Playboy, and they had a sport to a Lakers game. It was either Lakers or Clippers. And we had always gone to games together. That was just like our thing. I mean, I vividly remember us going to Panthers games and like trying to like hit on Christian McCaffrey as like 12-year-olds because we've always been freaking boy crazy. So she randomly called me. I hadn't spoke to her in probably a year and a half, 2 years. She calls me and she's like, hey, Playboy's hosting an event. We've got a suite. Do you want to come? I'm like, what is it? Like, I don't want to go to a party. That's not who I am. She goes, oh, no, it's a sports game. That's why I invited you. You want to go? So I went. I called in sick to a like minimum wage job that I was working. I was working at a gym in like the meantime. Called in sick, went to the game. It was so much fun. Like, we were just catching up and shooting the shit. And I ended up meeting a lot of the higher ups at Playboy and just having a conversation. And I was like, look, like, if I do join, like, I have like severe deal points that I'm not going to back up on just because of my morals.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, like, that's fine. Come into the office. We'll show you around. We'll go through everything. So I went, and literally within like 2 weeks I joined, and the rest is history. And it all stemmed from a freaking basketball game of all things. But I genuinely am so, so grateful for that. And so grateful for Kyla for inviting me in the first place. Like, none of this would have happened if it wasn't for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. And I think that it's really cool that Playboy is like doing a platform where, you know, women can kind of, it's like before Playboy was just about you had to get discovered.
Yeah.
They had to come find you to get in the magazine. But now it's like you can actually get on this platform and kind of like they've kind of granted access to women who would have never
been seen before.
Been able to, women who would have never been able to like say I'm affiliated with Playboy now can be on this platform similar to OnlyFans. But I think that it's also Playboy's always kind of had a classiness associated with the sexiness at the same time. And I think that's something that OnlyFans actually doesn't have as much. I think that they have a lot more raunchy stuff on there. So
yeah, it's known for like raunchiness, and like that's why like I had people come to me in the past being like, oh, would you ever do like exclusive content? And I always said no, just because like that's all I knew. And then whenever the whole Playboy thing fell into place, it made sense because they are known for like more than just that. They bring so much more to the table. And like I'm in the process of doing a podcast with Playboy, and there's so many other things, and I'm doing shoots. I'm now the face of Playboy, and I've got my own bunny suits and doing all of that jazz. And I'm like really, really grateful for that because I mean, you don't have that with OnlyFans. With OnlyFans, you're known as, oh, you're an OnlyFans girl. Like, that's all you're known for.
So when it comes to like creating content for like the platform and all that, like what were your like hard lines? Have you ever bent any of your lines? Like how has that played out?
Okay, so I went in being like, not doing nudity. Like, that is not me. I've never been that type of person. It's definitely let up. In a bad way. But just in like certain situations, like, I mean, I'm never not comfortable. That's how I'll leave it. I'm not showing anything that I'm not comfortable with. And I mean, anyone who knows me knows who I am and what I hold myself accountable for. And I mean, that's all it really boils down to. I mean, I do my lingerie, my bikinis, and
even in the past with me, like with you know, in my one past like Fashion Nova deal, it was like lingerie was included. And I remember I posted in the and somebody was like somebody, I remember it was like a comment like, oh, like desperate, just posting it. You're not even a model. You're just posting on your bed in lingerie.
Mean.
And I'm like, little do you know, I'm getting paid to post this. It was part of my deal that I had to include lingerie. Like, and I just think it's funny because it's like you post something sexy and people are all of a sudden like, oh my God, like she's a hoe. Or like, da-da-da.
Oh, she's a slut for posting that. And that's just not the case, like, at all. Like, you don't know who we are as as actual people. And I think social media, like, this is one thing that I don't agree with social media is the fact that like people just automatically assume that they know you and every aspect of you because they see you on Instagram or they see you on TikTok, and it's just not the case. Like, people imagine your life being so different than it actually is and thinking that everything's perfect. And
well, also, why are we going to sit there and show everything that's not perfect? Like, I'm going to sit there and show you guys that I like crashed into a pole today, or like I'm going to sit here and be like, oh, here's another bill I have to pay. Like, no, obviously,
no, that's not
you
being
want to show off good things. You want, you know, so I think that's what's funny too, is like people start to think it's like, oh, they're just like these fake. It's like, no, I'm just showing off the good things in my life because who the hell wants to share like negative shit, you know?
Well, and I'm just not a negative person, so I don't talk about my negative shit. Like,
same. I
have no desire.
Same. I'm the type of person, I've coped with all the negative in my life through comedy. And I think because I'm always laughing and like happy publicly that people are like, oh, your life's perfect. And it's like, no, I'm just good at laughing shit off and maintaining this like happy, you know, image and smile even when there's not shit to be happy about, you know?
Well, even if stuff is going bad in life, I've just been taught from such a young age, and I think a lot of this boils down to like the acting front. You grin and bear it. Like you figure it out. You put on a fake face. I mean, there were definitely times where like there was shit going on behind the scenes, and you've got a job to do. You show up, you do your job, and like at the end of the day, content is our jobs. Like our social media is one of our jobs. And like, yes, we have so many other things going on, but it is a job. So you have a reputation to uphold on that aspect. And people don't want to see you boohoo crying and like complaining about, oh, my life sucks, because then they're going to be like, well, you had this. So many other people don't even have these opportunities and you're not even grateful. They'll always find something wrong with every little thing. I mean, haters are going to hate, as Taylor Swift said. It's full circle. So, I mean, you get to a point, and like, I really am grateful for this. You get to a point where you're just like, who cares? Who cares? I'm going to do me. And if you don't like it, why are you following me?
I'm happy you figured that out at your age, and it didn't take you as long as me. Because it took me till like 30 to be like, I don't care anymore.
Well, it's just exhausting.
Oh my God,
like,
yeah.
I used to be a people pleaser, and oh my God, like I look back and I was so miserable because you're not standing up for yourself. You're just letting things slide because you think it's going to be better for other people. And like, I finally gotten to a point where I'm just like, it's exhausting. I'd rather just be me. And if you don't like me for me, then don't hang around me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be associated with you. Or like, don't follow me on Instagram. Don't follow me on my social media. If you have such a problem with it, why are you taking time out of your day to go and hate and comment on my stuff?
Like, sad. These people are sad.
Hurt people.
Yeah.
I've said that for years and I stick by it. If you're leaving a bad comment on someone's Instagram, you got shit to worry about in your own life.
Yep.
Did you ever do pageants in North Carolina when you were younger?
No. I wanted to. Well, okay, that's a lot. So I always wanted to. My mom let me do like a random one. I think my dad's mom was actually the one who like signed me up for it. And it was like literally in our town. Like it was not a pageant, but like it was a pageant. I always wanted to do that because like I love toddlers and tiaras. And I was like, oh, that's so fun. Never got into it, but I've definitely had girlfriends throughout my life that were like the pageant girls, and like they talk about their childhood growing up in that, and they're like, oh my God, like it was a nightmare. Like you don't really understand what goes on behind the scenes in that world. So I really am grateful that my mom said no to that. She's like, no, if you're going to do something, you need to have an actual talent. Like you need to do something that's going to be good for you and like build character and show you that life isn't all great. Like there is rejection in acting. There's rejection in music. There's rejection in content creation.
One thing you can learn from pageants is rejection, because obviously kids have to learn like, oh, I'm not going to win every pageant and this and that. But I do think it creates like these like unrealistic ideas of like perfection or whatever.
And what you're supposed to look like. And I mean, the girls that are winning, obviously you're going to compare yourselves to them. And especially at such a young age, whenever you really don't comprehend that, I can only imagine the trauma that puts on like those little girls being like, oh, well, this girl won. Well, she's got curly hair. Maybe that's the reason that I didn't win. I wish I had curly hair. Or even for like little black girls who see white girls winning all the time, like I could only imagine what that does for them. And like at such a young age, the biggest thing is to like encourage these kids and be like, no, you are beautiful by yourself. You bring so much to the table. You have such a beautiful heart. You're known for so much more than just your figure or just your face or just how you look or how you present yourself. So I don't think I would ever let my kid do pageants. I mean, not saying anything against it, but like, I just, no. I want my kid to be a kid and like go out and play in the grass and like go climb a tree.
No, it is a little weird. I did one pageant as a joke thing for the show Fantasy Factory I was on. And
how old were you at this point?
I was in my early 20s. I was like 21, 22.
So you were like an adult competing.
I was like an adult.
I could only imagine how those girls were.
But I saw all the kids there. Like I had to get there the day early. And this is my first time. It was like for TV. So they were kind of being like extra nice to me and being like, we'll like show you everything. And I'll never forget, I had to go, you like literally have to get spray tanned. Like they make you. And so they're like, okay, we're going to go to the spray tan room. And you guys, I almost cried. Like there was literally like little babies in there, like screaming, crying, like just being spray tan. And I was like, oh my God, like this is like sad. Like they don't want to spray tan.
Like obviously like no kid wants to have spray sprayed in their face and in their mouth. Because like you tell them to hold their breath, they're just going to breathe. Like
Dude, Chanel's making it seem like it was a re-education camp or something. Like Like, so the kids are just getting whipped. Like,
I mean, you never know what happened behind the scenes.
No, but like it was. Even though it's just a spray tan, like I was like, they seemed cold. And
I get it. I mean, it's a little gets in your eye, it might burn a little bit.
Well,
you know?
the spray tan is like one of the processes. There's also the hair. There's the hair pieces. There's the outfits. There's the heels that they make the little girls wear.
Some
like
of the
it's
little
just,
girls who are missing their teeth, they put in the little fake teeth.
Oh, I had those.
The flipper. You still have your flipper?
No, I lost my flipper, sadly. I was literally just talking about my flipper with my mom the other day because I was like, where is that thing? Like, I would love to have that and put that in my box. I've got boxes from like every significant point in my life, whether it's like relationships and I've taken underwear from guys or like different like tickets.
That's a good thing.
Oh my God, it's so fun.
My mom got rid of like everything from my childhood.
I've got old outfits that I used to wear and I'm like, my kid is going to wear this. Like, I don't care if I have a boy, I will dress him up like a girl and he will be wearing this at least for a picture.
These days, that'll work.
Hold up. Wait, so you're telling me that you have a guy's underwear somewhere?
Oh, like 4 or 5 guys.
What?
I mean, it's fun. It's a little klepto, but like, it's fun.
Do you wash them or do you just kind of let them keep
Men are
their
not cleanly
essence?
people. Sorry, Dom, but like, yes, they're washed, and then they go in my box and they're never touched again. But it's like a little memento. If I ever open that box, I'm like, oh, I remember these. These were from this guy. Oh, these, I remember.
Yeah.
It's like memory lane.
Are there any holes where one of the guys like not very hygienic, you know?
Oh no, I only date guys with good hygiene. That's like one of my biggest pet peeves.
That's my girl.
Biggest pet peeves. I'm like, I'm such a clean freak. Like even with my house, like
wait, what sign are you?
I'm a Scorpio.
Oh my God. Here we go.
So our baby's a Scorpio.
Oh, we're the best.
We have a lot of Scorpio women around us. Like a lot of Scorpio women.
She's going to be a great girl. Like just
they're very powerful.
We're both Virgos, and Virgos and Scorpios. I didn't realize
you both were.
Yeah. So Virgos and Scorpios are both different in a lot of ways, but I do think we're both particular about things, and I'm also kind of a clean like hygiene.
It's very
freak.
like it's our way or the highway. Like
that's what
if
a Scorpio
it's not done
thing.
the right way, don't fucking touch anything. Like I will go back behind you and I will do it the right way. Like I'm very OCD in the sense of like things in my house have to be put a certain way. Like everything has to be clean. Like I do not get up from bed without making the bed every morning. And like maybe it's just little habits.
I used to be like that, but he tends to be in the bed after me sometimes. And so I can't just make it with Dom in it. So my bed is never made.
I make it nowadays.
Sometimes he half makes it.
I'm like a minimum viable product type of person, like I like to get the most results with the least amount of effort. So I'll make it look nice, but I'm not going to put all the throw pillows on it.
He just doesn't understand.
They can stay there.
Yeah, it's like if the bed does not have 10 pillows on it, babe, it's not made.
A bed. It's not made.
But then in a couple hours, you got to take them back off. It's just,
Well, yeah.
Come on, ain't nobody got time for that.
It looks better. It looks pretty. I mean, what if someone like comes into your house and they're like, let me see your bed?
Then
you want it to look nice?
I got something for those type of people.
Oh my God. Oh.
Okay. Wait, so really quick, I wanted to pull this up.
Yeah.
Because I saw that you have, and please forgive me because now that I have a baby, in the past, before I had a baby, I would see like a friend like you like has a new song, and the first thing I do was like, let me check it out.
Yeah.
And so forgive me, I actually did not listen yet.
No, that's fine.
But the visuals I saw, I loved because I have a song called 40 Yard Dash. And in the video, we did a whole football theme. That's what I wanted to do. I was like, listen, I want to go ham. I want to have green turf. I want to be in a fucking football outfit with a ponytail. And I saw you did the baseball theme video. And I was like, I love this. I honestly, I want to hear the song. But at the moment I was like, I don't even need to hear the song. I just love this.
You love the vibe.
Yeah, I love the vibe. So I want to know what inspired you to do that? Do you like baseball? Are you a fan of baseball?
Oh, I love baseball. And like, plus one of the guys that I was talking to was a baseball. Yeah, you know this whole situation.
You told me.
You know like everything. Chanel like knows the back ends of everything. So I was dating a guy who I don't know what to call it. I mean, Dom, you were there too. Situationship. He was a baseball player. And this song is literally talking about our relationship. And I mean, it's like a game. Like, some days you're in, some days you're out. You swing and miss, and there's definitely references to who this guy is, whether it's the numbers on the jerseys or, I mean, there's references in the lyrics. There's a little bit of everything.
What did he think about it when he heard it?
Oh, he's like, oh, I love this. Like, no one's ever written a song about me, and now there's like 50 songs about him, but like, whatever. And anyone who knows the baseball space would easily be able to put it together, especially after this album comes out, because there's definitely other songs that are
I like
pinpointing.
That's
exactly.
artistic. That's
Can
like,
we pull
you
it
know.
up for a second?
I'm so curious to see what you're going to say.
No, I want to
Because I love that you did something like sports related too. Because
I almost want to pull them up like side by side.
No,
so,
no,
you know.
I know. I need like a play-by-play of like both things.
No, we don't. It's so funny because like,
Great minds think alike.
no, really though, I'm not joking.
What's the
like,
song? Oh, there it
It's
is.
called baseball games.
There it is. Bang, bang.
Oh God. This video is like by far one of my fafavorite videos.
Oh man, you need
Oh,
to
great.
go.
We
So you
love
need to get.
stickers.
You need to get that YouTube Pro account with your cheap ass.
Oh, you don't want to see ads about stickers? They're custom. You can get them like curated to whatever you want.
Hey, maybe that's the next move.
There's a lookalike that looks like the baseball player.
It's so cute.
And then we had a rapper in it, Brooklyn Queen. And the way that whole relationship came to be was just fun.
I wonder if this is the same. Was the turf already at the studio?
No.
It wasn't?
They had to put everything in. Like, they carried in, like, loads of dirt. And, like, they were shoveling this dirt away. It was the funniest thing. And, like, funny behind-the-scenes story, we were originally going to shoot in, like, an actual field. And it was, like, $1 million to film in a, like, baseball field. So we were like, no, we'll make our own.
Yeah, no, so when we did our video for 40 Yard Dash, it was during the pandemic. And it was like very frowned upon to even be filming outside at a base. So
Which
we
is
had to
crazy.
So
get very
that dude
private
with the long
studios.
hair, he's a friend of Logan's.
Oh, really?
He was at your birthday party. Yeah.
he was?
Yeah.
Hunter's a funny guy. He was on
Yeah, he was on like a
Too Hot
dating show
to
or something.
Handle, I wanna
yeah,
say.
one of those.
I met him at Bryce Vine's like wine opening party. And he walked in the door and I go, I need to have a conversation with you. It's like he looked exactly like this guy. And I go up to him and he's like, oh, I need to have a conversation with you too. And I go, no, honey, this is business. And shut that down real quick just because, no. And then asked him to be in the video and he's like, okay, sure. Like, why not? And then he came and he was such a good sport about everything. Like,
He's definitely
such a good sport.
a yeah, sure, why not type of guy, you know?
And that's what I like about him. Like, he had such like a fun personality about it. And he was like, yeah, like throw me in. Oh, you want me shirtless? Okay. Like, I'll take it off. And that was really appreciated because it made my life easier. And the fact that I didn't have to like
Yeah.
coach someone through everything. Like, he was ready. He showed up ready to play. And it was just a great time.
Nice.
That's dope.
We were there for like 17 hours that day. It was a long freaking day. But
It's well produced. It's
Yeah,
really cool.
no, you know what
Day of Ramos.
I was gonna say, you know what? I'm pretty good at directing music videos. You should have me do a video for you.
Well, you should be in a song too.
Okay.
We need to like collab. You got to do a video.
Let's do
like,
it. Let's
and
make
if
it
we're
happen.
doing it, we got to do it right.
Who are like what producers are you working with? Do you work with like all different people?
All
or?
different people.
Yeah. same.
I've kind of learned that I like certain people though. Like Maya Marie is always in my session. She used to write for Britney Spears.
Oh, nice.
And I got introduced to her like 2.5 years ago whenever I first started doing music. And we became like so close. She's like the big sister I never had. And she knows every aspect of my life. And I'll call her even whenever like we're not writing anything. And I'll just be like, Maya, I need a girlfriend. Like, I need you. Like, what do I do in this situation? And she's such a good sport about everything and has helped me get through certain situations. Even like whenever this whole situation was happening with a guy, I called her and I'm like, what do I do? She's like, oh, this is what you do. Like, do you want like big sister advice or do you want like mom advice? And that's what I appreciate. Like, I can be 100% honest with her and she knows exactly what to say. And it's been fun to see how much we've changed throughout these past 2.5 years. I mean, she's got a baby now. And
Yeah.
it's so weird seeing the trajectory change, but I mean, she's stuck with me and I'm stuck with her. Like it's a package deal.
Nice.
Like that's where I've really gotten at this point. And then as far as like producers, there's a little bit of everything. Most of the songs, like I would say a good 50 to 65% are done by Michael Blum. I've got some by like Albert Harvey. I've got some by Damon Sharp, who did stuff with like J-Lo. So a little bit of everything. It's kind of like a Duke's mixture.
Yeah.
But it makes it fun and it makes it enjoyable. And I mean, it keeps me on my toes because working with different people is the fun aspect, because then you're able to like go in and have an unbiased opinion about what you're writing about and have different like bounce different ideas off of each other. That's like the best situation. And especially if you want to write something that's so raw, it's sometimes nice to have people that don't know the whole situation. That way you can like fill them in on what you want to fill them in on.
Yeah.
Like I've definitely had those sessions where I'm like, I don't want to sit here for 2 hours and tell you the whole story. So I'm just going to tell you like a wee bit, and that's what we're going to write about.
Yeah. No, I've went into sessions literally like I've went into sessions with some of my writer friends, and like they're my co-writers / therapists. And I come in and I'm just like, so this is what I gotta fucking tell you about. I just looked on my Instagram story and see my ex was on a boat. I'm not even gonna lie. This is what happened with my song Anchors. I literally like saw my ex was on a boat with like a girl, like living his best life while I was like here doing not in Italy.
Not in Italy.
And I can't explain it. Just like the vibe I had that day, I was just like, I want to write a song about these like real, like, you know, like almost like these pretty girls who just have life so easy and they're always on a fucking boat, you know?
What's
like,
up with that?
These
All
bitches,
those like pretty girls are always on a boat with someone new, like living their best life, best tan, like skinny, itty bitty body, big boobs. And I'm like,
and always have a new designer person. You're like, but you don't even have a job. How'd you get that?
How does it work? And how do they find these men who are just like willing to like fully like take care of them and like give them this life of luxury? And like, I mean, maybe it's all fake, like social media, but I don't freaking know. Like it's
many
insane.
girls though. And it's like, it's always the girl, like after you break up with the guy, it's like, that's the girl they go with. And it's like, oh my God, I'm so over this. Right. And so
like of all people, that's who you go to. Okay.
Yeah. And so I went into the studio with this writer Cadence, who I wrote the song with. And it was funny because I literally just came in and I was like, fuck this dude. And I was like, I'm sick of it. I said, while he's out on the fucking boat, I'm here held down like an anchor, man. And I was like, wait. I was like, wait, that's it. I was like, the song should be called Anchors. And it's about everything holding me down. And I'm just trying to break free and like be sailing around the world and like
on my yacht, like living my best life.
Yes. And so if you listen to my song Anchors and watch the video and whatever, it's like you hear that whole story, but it's so funny because it's like I literally like went in the studio that day with just like this feeling of like that and I went in and I just said exactly like how I told you guys to them, and me and my girl came and she was like, yo, I got this. And she started like, you know, doing a couple melodies and I did a couple melodies and we wrote the song so fast and so easy because it was like I just came in with these emotions and it
was real.
Yes.
And just like it was meant to be.
Yep.
And that's what I appreciate about you. Like you write from personal experience too. Like you're not trying to like keep
make up stories here and there.
Me too.
You know, like when you'll make up you almost like have this idea like, oh, this song sounds like it should be about this, and it's like, well, I haven't really went through this, but I'm gonna make a song about that.
Well, like
you know?
DGAF, like I channeled from like girlfriends that I have that like would just go out and like have one night stands with guys, and I've never been that type of person.
Yeah.
Like I've only had sex with 3 people, so not really much experience there, but my girlfriends like have no problem like going out and sleeping with random men and living their best life. And I wrote a song about that because I was like, yeah, like don't give a fuck, like go have fun.
They're like, wait, is this about me, bitch?
Oh, they all know it's about them, and they're like, oh yeah, this is our club song. I'm like, okay, good for you.
That's funny. But so okay, wait.
How do you kind of reconcile that, like the image of being like doing Playboy, the image, like that very sexual image of you that's out there, and reconcile that and balance that with who you feel like you really are at your core of being, you know,
I try
more
to be
of this,
real. Like, I'm going to be honest. Like I try to be myself, and like, look, I love sexy shit. Like, look at all of my videos. All of them are like overly sexy. I love my boobs. I love my body. Like I'm very, very grateful for what God gave me. So I mean, I've never really had a problem with like expressing my sexuality, but with that, especially in this day and age, comes, oh, then that's how you are in your personal life. And that's just never how I've been. Like, I was scared of sex. Like, anytime that was ever brought up or like a conversation was had, I was terrified. Like I never had the birds and bees talk, didn't even have a period talk. Like my mom refused to give me those talks until I was like 14 or 15. And I mean, it was so taboo. And now like I'm fully open with my mom. Like my mom and I like have these conversations and I'm like, yeah, like this is what I've done. Like if I'm going through something, she knows like a play-by-play of everything. And I'm so grateful for that. But I mean, I've got a lot of friends that are in the sex space. I mean, Elsa Jean being one of them, who is a porn star, and like she's not doing that anymore, but she's had so much experience, and we've sat down and had conversations, and she's like, why haven't you? Like, there's no reason that you couldn't if you wanted to. I'm like, yeah, that's the point. Like, I don't want to. I have no need. I'm good. Like, yeah. I'm A-okay. If I really need something, I've got a vibrator. Like it's A-okay. A-okay. I'm fine. So it's fun being able to have these conversations, but with that also comes like, should I have been doing more? Should I have been doing this? Or at my age, should I be that type of person who goes out and like lives that life? But I've just never been that type of person. And I'm so uncomfortable whenever I am put in those positions that it's not really worth it to me.
Yeah.
Like the trade-off just is not there because I know me and I would feel so guilty.
Well, speaking of trade-offs, it's like, I feel like everything in life, every decision like has a price, right? There's always a price that needs to be paid for something. Do you feel like you've paid any price for going in the direction you have, or do you feel like it's I'm curious like what those things would be. There's so many
different ways that I could take this. I mean, even like with relationships, like I joined a dating app and like obviously there's pictures of me in my bunny suits because you've got to know that that's who I am and like that's what I'm associated with, because if you're not comfortable with it, then this is never going to work out. Like I was in a relationship before where whenever I joined Playboy, he had a huge issue with it just because he wasn't okay with that. And that, nothing against him. It's just not what he was comfortable with. And that's not what he wanted his girl to be doing. And more power to you. But I'm so comfortable in my own skin that I'm going to do what makes me happy. And if I'm comfortable with something, then it is what it is. So with relationships, like it is known that I do Playboy, and a lot of guys have come to me like expecting that I just like have one night stands and like will just be a fuck buddy. And that's just, I don't have sex with someone until I'm like 2 months in at least. Just because it's just not who I am, and that's not who I want to be known as. So there's that. And then with career, like I definitely had pushback with like acting for a long time of like what I was getting casted for and the auditions that I was getting. I got dropped by my agency, by my agent, because they didn't agree with the whole Playboy side. My manager called me, was very, very mad at me whenever he found out that I joined Playboy, and definitely had pushback in terms of like media, and it's kind of just the price you pay. And I mean, to me, it's 100% worth it because I'm able to live my best life and do what makes me happy.
Well, yeah, I'm curious. So, you know, obviously we won't get into specifics because it's no one's business, but you make a great living doing this and it's been positive for you. But at the same time, like, is it all just positive, or is there any chance that you feel somewhat trapped at any point? Like, oh, like this is amazing, but like it's almost too amazing to ever give it up type of thing.
I mean, for me, like, I'm going to be completely honest. I see myself doing this for probably like 2 to 3 years because I do want a family. Like, I want to get married. I want to have kids. Like, that truly is so rewarding to me. And like, that's why I appreciate your guys' relationship so much, because you guys have welcomed in the love, had a baby, like, and you guys are thriving in that. So whenever I look at you guys, I admire the fact that, like, yes, you are still doing your own things. Like, you are still whole as a person and doing your own things and doing your career the way that you want to do it. But you also have something behind the scenes that it's really wonderful, and you're building a life for each other and for your baby.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, I definitely think I'll always be in the creator space, whether it's on Instagram or TikTok or in acting. But
so you see yourself more of not like doing content, but maybe transitioning into different things, like as time goes on.
I've kind of been like, I get bored really easily.
Same.
So I've got to have something that like keeps me on my toes and keeps me satisfied and happy. And
but also
for a long time, it was acting.
If the money from those supplements, like you said, you're able to invest into yourself.
Yeah.
And if one of these songs that you're investing into takes off, then you don't need to do this anymore, you know? So it's like,
exactly.
That's, you know, I think it's pretty obvious, like what the end goal is. And even
the end goal is I get married within the next 5 years and have a baby. That's my end goal.
Trust me, that's everybody's end goal.
And I want to move to the middle of nowhere, have no cell phone service, like have a farm, raise calves, and like raise them to be butchered. Like I want to make my own meat. Like that's my ideal.
No, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
We're
like
on that same way.
We're on that same way,
Well,
but
come
he
on,
won't.
let's do it together.
Well, he won't leave LA.
No, okay,
I'm
on.
ready to get
Okay,
out of here
so
tomorrow.
here's what it is. I want that lifestyle without actually having to like go be there. So
Well, that's
maybe
never gonna happen
you
in
can
LA.
send me the meat. You know, I'll just stay here.
can't.
and
Well,
then-
Chanel, you can come and like bi-weekly stay with me or whatever. You can bring Bowie if you need a break. Send Bowie my way. Like I will take her. But I mean, I've really gotten into like the health and wellness space within the past year. And I mean, it's kind of just taken over me now. Like I don't really eat a lot of red meat just because I don't like how it like reacts with my system. So I've gone for like alternatives, whether it's like venison or elk or bison and that kind of stuff. And I mean, I've noticed such a change in like my overall gut health and the way that I feel. So I can only imagine how much better I would feel if I was raising my own meat.
Oh, yeah,
and
for
knowing
sure.
exactly what they were eating.
Do you know about seed oils?
Yes.
Okay.
I've cut
We're
everything
off of
out.
them.
He's
Yeah.
actually coming out with a cookbook because
Okay, this is what you were talking about.
Yes.
Okay.
So the whole premise of the cookbook is like no seed oils, no deep frying, no artificial ingredients, because, and I can already just tell from you speaking, is that, you know, you're already privy to this, but like how much just like straight poison is in a lot of our food.
It's so bad for you.
Yeah.
So bad for you. I mean, you look at people from different countries and who don't have all of these processed foods and all of these dyes that are so unnecessary. They are so much healthier. They're living longer. They're in better shape. They're genuinely like thriving in their body.
Well, you know
and
that too because
we're miserable.
In a lot of these countries, it's also where people smoke cigarettes and drink religiously, and it's
Yeah,
like,
and they're like living to
they're living
100.
forever. It's like clearly your food and everything else is better for you to be able to drink and smoke like a freaking fish and chimney.
Yeah.
and you're still like living this long and healthy. It's like in Europe, everybody lives long, and practically everybody smokes out there and drinks. You know, what
You
I mean?
have a drink with dinner, like 4 or 5 drinks, and you're smoking at the table. Like it's so crazy to me because, like, I mean, that's not acceptable here in America. But like, you go over to like Italy, and that's all people do.
Yep.
Like, they will just go
I say
out
it
for
like
coffee.
I've been to
and-
Italy. I've never been. I'm like,
You've never been?
I'm like, yep. I've been to
Yep,
Italy
I know it
once.
firsthand. Yep.
But
So I
no-
have not traveled enough because, girl, I spent my whole 20s hustling my ass off, and ridiculousness always had a
How was your schedule?
so very sporadic, which made it hard to like travel overseas a lot because also I was spending my time not filming, working on my music. And so it'd be like, oh, I'd have a month off filming, but in that month I had 3 gigs that are like, and the way things are always spaced out for me, I never had time to really go and like travel. Cause it's like, obviously to go to Europe and overseas.
You've gotta have time.
You gotta have at least 2 or 3 weeks. And
Oh,
I
at
would
least.
always have like the most time I'd always have is like a week. That's it. And I'm
And
like,
it's not worth it. Like, if you're going to do something, you want to do it right.
Like,
and
even-
you want to have time.
even
and-
when I went to the Philippines,
you went to the Philippines?
so that was one of my best trips. One thing I had time
Okay.
to do. I went with actually Apple from Black Eyed Peas. He's Filipino. He's like,
Oh my God.
very famous in the Philippines. He's like, they treat him like he's the president. So he brought a whole trip of Filipino influencers, and I'm not Filipino,
Plus
but
Chanel.
I always have to mention this when I tell the story. So we had a song together,
Okay.
and he wanted to shoot the music video for it, and he's like, Chanel, why don't we shoot the video in the Philippines? You should come with us on this trip.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and so I got to go to the Philippines and see, you know, this beautiful place. And for that trip, it was like the best trip of my life. I had to leave the trip early because I ended up opening for Lil Wayne.
Oh my God.
Great gig in Arizona. Couldn't pass it up.
No.
But this is an example of like, you know, I never have had that time because it was always just so many work things coming up, and you know, I'm proud of working hard for a long time, and I know that that's why I'm living the way I'm living now. I have this nice home and another home on the East Coast coming soon, and but I will say that that's, I think, something that I'll give this advice as a big sis too,
Please.
because you seem like a workaholic like me, and you stay working. but do take the time to enjoy yourself and travel. I think that's something I made a mistake not doing enough of. And you know, travel comes with the career I'm in. So I've traveled a little bit, but most of it's been work related. So it's like I get to go somewhere, but it's like for a day or two. And
it's not really like you being able to take your time and like go and sightsee. So like, that's why I'm like so overly close with my parents. Like I go back to they're in Orange County, and I'll go to their house at least once a week and like go and stay the night, like go hang out. We go on family trips together. Like we spent Christmas in Vegas, and we've been doing that for the past like 3 years. And we go to Palm Springs often. We go to Joshua Tree. Like even if it's close by the house, like we're still going out and doing and trying to like see and spend time together, because I think at the end of the day, that's so much more rewarding than being in this environment, because LA is a lot. And I think from the outside eye, you think, oh, LA is like glitz and glamour. It's so fun and there's so much to do, but it's draining. Like I moved to LA in April of last year, and oh my gosh, the way of life is completely different. Like even me getting here today, like, oh my God, it took me like 2 hours to get here, which is crazy because it was 13 miles. Like,
no, so
what?
That's why our podcast is called, which actually, side note, we might change the title. So we're like making this evergreen just in case we do. But for now, it is California Dreaming. And that's kind of the essence of what the show is about. It's like, you know, all of our guests who come on the show are different friends in the industry. And what's funny is I feel like a reoccurring thing I noticed through everybody that I
think what she's ultimately trying to say is that everyone, you know, they all are pursuing a dream. They all come out, you know, most of them, the vast majority of them land in California, particularly Los Angeles. And, you know, it's funny because we kind of glossed over it like earlier, but I am curious, like what, you know, she's done music. She's been in TV. I've been a model. I could tell you everything there is to know about the modeling industry. Yeah. So anyway, I'm curious what your, you know, experiences have been in like Hollywood as a child actress. Then, you know, the show ends, you end up back home for a while. You know, I'm curious, like, do you have any experience that stands out that maybe was, you know, that's just a microcosm of what it is to be an actress in Hollywood?
I mean, you're exposed to the party scene at such a young age, and like definitely got some friends that were on like either Nickelodeon or Disney shows that have had like a terrible hand dealt with like drugs and alcohol, and like now they're sober, thank God. But it really is sad, the fact that you're exposed to so much that you shouldn't be exposed to. And I mean, that's definitely one reason why my kids are not going to be allowed to be in like this kind of space, just because I don't want them to have the same experiences I did. Like there's so many great opportunities that came from what situation I was put into. But with that, the trade-off being you're exposed to partying, you're exposed to drinking. I mean, I vividly remember being on set and there was weed on set, and it's what it was. And like, as a 12-year-old, you don't know what they're doing, but like we had older castmates, so they were definitely doing things, and you didn't really realize it until after the situation. And you're like, oh, like interesting. And a lot of people have used drugs and alcohol to cope with the experience of Hollywood. And like, yes, I know that there's definitely some people that have not gone into that world, but there also are people who have, and like have gone down the wrong path and gotten addicted and gone through all of these different problems. And it really is sad, because I genuinely think in the real world, you don't have those experiences. Like, yes, there are experiences that you are exposed to, but it's not in the same capacity.
So how challenging was it for you to be on like a significant show on a huge network, to then go back, and you said that for a little while you were working a minimum wage job? I'm sure people recognized you.
Oh, I had like a few people come up to me and be like, aren't you the girl from Game Shakers? And I'm like, yeah, like I'm Madisyn. Nice to meet you.
Was that like cool, or was it like was it like challenging mentally and emotionally, or, you know, like how was that, and how did you keep from falling into drugs and alcohol or other coping mechanisms?
So I'm very grateful for my experiences. Like the fact that people recognize me, I'm like, I wouldn't be where I am today if people didn't recognize me. So like, I really have no problem with it. Now there are times where like, I feel like it's always how it happens. Like whenever you do not want to meet people, that's whenever you get recognized, and you're like, oh my God, of course. Like, and you try to be like happy go lucky and like very nice. And like, that's just how I've always been taught to act. And like, yes, I am very, very grateful, and you always act humble, but there's definitely times in life where you're like, okay, like I really just wanted to come to the supermarket and be in sweatpants and like just live my life and be.
But you're talking
fine.
about it from the perspective of someone who's like already successful being recognized. I want to know what that feeling is when you're at what would be presumably a low point being recognized, right? Because that's a different story. Being recognized when you're on top of the world is great, but what about when you're working that minimum wage job and someone recognizes you?
It was the same thing for me.
Really?
Like, honestly, like I really didn't have any negative connotations with being recognized. I will say it was a crappy situation whenever I was in high school and like went to that real high school and people knew that I was the Nickelodeon girl. And it wasn't the fact that they were recognizing me. It was the fact that
they were jealous.
They were jealous. And I didn't really understand that at the time. And I think in my head, I thought that high school was going to be a great experience for me, that it was going to make me feel whole and like it was going to be what I was missing. And I mean, shame on me because I thought that high school was going to be like Glee and High School Musical and kids love everyone and like you dance and you sing. And it was just not the case. And I even tried to like get involved in things that I knew I was like good at, that I had succeeded in. I joined drama. I joined like singing. Like I was trying to put myself out there and like find things that would be helpful and I mean, be fun for me. And I was bullied like crazy. I had so many kids who made up rumors about me and I like vividly remember these.
Girl. I feel like we could relate to each other a lot. But I will say this, that because I'm a little older than you, I could tell you like all of these. It's so funny. Like, here, let me give you an example. A girl who bullied me in high school. Okay. I'm at the club one time doing a club hosting gig here in LA. And a couple of my friends from high school, because like I said, I grew up here in LA, you know, so I'm still friends with a lot of people I grew up with. So I invited a few of them out. And there's this girl who like was kind of a bully to me in high school, like wouldn't kind of like let me up in her group. And the funniest thing, she's kind of standing on like the edge of my table. And the waitress girl's like, oh, or like, are you with them? Like, are you at Chanel's table? And she's like, oh, Chanel, like, that's my girl from high school. And I like heard her say it. And I literally was like,
really?
I was like, you're a girl. You literally were a bully to me.
I've had people like that who've reached out to me since and been like, I'm so happy for you.
But
and I'm
that's
like,
what I'm saying, though.
I mean, like, I'm never going to be a bitch to you, but like,
I just don't even respond.
I don't either. I'm like, it's not worth my time.
As soon as you get a certain amount of success, everybody that was a bully to you or acted like they didn't like you or was rude to you in high school, all of a sudden will come around acting like they were your best friend the whole time.
Dude, this one kid,
as soon as they can gain something, then they're like, oh, yeah.
No, this one kid that like really fucked with me in 8th grade, like bad. He sees me on like, 10 years later, sees me on Nike.com, sends it to me. Is like, oh, so happy for you, bro. This is cool. Like, like whatever.
I love how they try to start conversations like they've talked to you for so long.
Yeah.
It's so funny to me.
Yeah. Well, we're running out of time, so I would love to hear like what are you working on right now? What would you like people to know about?
Yes. What are your dreams for the future? Because right now you're following all your dreams and you're accomplishing a lot, but for the future, you're so young. Like, what do you see for yourself in like the next 5 to 10 years?
Okay. So right now I'm doing my album. So I'm like getting everything prepped for this release. Very excited about it. And then going to start doing new music and just keeping that as my form of therapy. I want to get married. I want to have a baby. Like that is truly my goal. I want to buy a house back home. I want to live on a farm. I want to like disconnect from social media. And like, I mean, yes, I feel like it'll always be a part of my life, but I definitely want to have more focus on the things outside of social media because there's so much more to life than just what's presented on a platform. So I think that's a big move for me. That's what I'm really hoping for. And I just want to live my life and be happy. I'm definitely going to keep doing my food and health and wellness, my cold tubs, my infrared sauna, and all of my crystals, because obviously it works.
I think it's working for you, girl. I think it's working for you too. He hid some of mine, and that's what I think, babe. That's what might have been happening lately.
Exactly. You hit him.
That's where my bad luck's been coming from because he was like this clutter, and I was like, it's not clutter, it's energy.
There's a bunch of rocks all over the place.
You're gonna be like in heaven. You're gonna be like, oh my god, this is so relaxing. Like this is where I need to be. I got you, girl. Got you, girl.
Matt,
it is funny because I had a little bad luck, and I was like, yo, what's going on? It's
get a sound bowl, do a meditation for 5 minutes a day. Like I'm telling you, it changes the way that you see your life and your perspective.
Yeah.
That is such a big thing that I will say, like perspective is the key. Like as long as, maybe this is me being naive or ignorant, I don't really know, but it works for me. I say always look at the situation glass half full.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason, whether it's a bad situation or a good situation, it's happening for a reason. And one door closes for another one to open. And you just have to have faith in it that everything's going to pan out the way that it's meant to pan out.
Yep.
I mean, there's definitely things in life that come out of the blue or happen that you're like, oh no, this shouldn't have happened. This is a really bad situation, but it made you appreciate different moments in life. And that's one of the biggest takeaways that I would say is so important, is have that perspective of like, yes, things get shitty. Everyone has shitty experiences in life, but I can turn my situation around. I can change the way I view things. I can have a positive outlook. And I mean, it really does eliminate the negativity. I do gratitudes every single day. I end my day with 3 different gratitude things, and it's changed the way that I see the world.
Well, Madisyn, you're truly a multifaceted person.
You are.
There's a lot more than meets the eye, so I'm really glad we got to
Yes.
talk to you so much.
We have to do a song together.
Yeah, and a music video like of us doing fun stuff.
Love to direct a music video for us.
I'm stealing Bowie too. Sorry.
Oh, yes.
Sorry.
You can babysit anytime. She's a handful.
Y'all want a date night? I got you. I'm taking her.
We'll make it
I'm
happen.
taking her.
All right, Madisyn Shipman, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming
love
on.
you.
I love you.
Yes.
Peace out. I don't know why I've never said a peace out, but I was like,
Peace out. Peace out, Girl Scout.
Baby, turn around, let me see it from the back. Got too excited, made him have a heart attack. Good for the body, get a taste and get attached. Bad bitch, watch me run it like the 40-yard dash. Yeah, watch me run it like the 40-yard dash.